All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart's been the longest tenured Celtic here on the team. He's been on the team for 8 years. Some might say he's been an instrumental piece to any of their success that they've had, but we're at kind of a crossroads here, and the talk of the town, the talk of the NBA world in a sense is Marcus Smart the piece that the Celtics need to trade to bring in some value? Does Marcus Smart need to be traded for a true point guard? Should he hit the road, or do they need to keep him? Is he truly a Celtic at heart? Is he the motor of this team? We're going to jump into some of his highlights today. I'm glad to be doing a video like this. It's kind of a throwback video like we used to do, and we're going to do more of these in the offseason. But we're going to jump into some of his highlights today. I'm going to react to them, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to kind of give you my, I guess my synopsis, my overall take on whether or not I think the Celtics need to move on from Marcus Smart. So let's jump into the highlights now. I'm only going to play about a minute or so because YouTube will flag my video if we play anymore. YouTube, I'm a good boy. Be nice to me. But I will jump into the highlights here and see what we got. But I think they are defensive highlights here from Marcus Smart. So we'll see what we got. Here we go. Kelly Oubre. Marcus Smart meets him at the rim, keeps the ball in bounds. It's going to be tough. I will be honest. It's going to be tough watching these because Marcus Smart had a pretty annoying finals run where he's, at times it seemed like he was shooting too much, but let's not forget this guy won Defensive Player of the Year. He was so instrumental in them turning it around, so it's going to be tough watching these, knowing that a lot of people want him to, I guess, be traded or anything like that. So I'll save my take for the end of the video, but it is going to be tough watching these, knowing that a lot of people want this guy out of Boston right now. He's just always there, huh? Rips it from Wagner. Nice pass to Jalen. It's going to be tough watching these highlights, knowing the Celtics lost the finals, and they're playing like this. He is a tough mother, you know what, too. Man. Man, oh man. Oh my God, look at this. Marcus Smart was just waiting for this. Keep an eye, can you see my mouse here? Keep an eye on Smart this entire play. Waiting. Look at that little pause. That was so nice. Right now, a normal guy would jump the gun and go, and then PJ Tucker says, oh, I can't throw that pass. But Marcus Smart, ready? Waits right here. Wait, boom. And a nice little behind the back to Jason Tatum. I mean, he is something else. Defensive Player of the Year. Let's not act like that's nothing. He's the first guard to win since Peyton. Like, Defensive Player of the Year is no joke whatsoever. That should have been an and one, for sure. Keeping an eye on Smart, top of the key. Hands active. He goes. Easy bucket. Dunks it in. Let's go. Making the crowd happy, Smart. All the little kids out there. Active hands. Bang. Flushes it. He just never wants to give up on a play. You know what I mean? He just never gives up on a play. Even in this, he has no business being in that play. It should just be an easy bucket where you're like, whatever, go score. But Marcus Smart says, nah, you know what? I'm going to get involved in this one. Look at that. Tips it back in, and we're going to end with a nice, easy dunk. That is Marcus Smart in a nutshell, but the question at hand is, do the Celtics need Marcus Smart, or should they trade him to get in some valuable piece? Because the one thing I will say, before I even really expand or extrapolate, big vocab word, on my take here, is that Marcus Smart's probably the one trade piece that's tradable that you can bring in some value for. You're trading a Defensive Player of the Year and a guy that, everyone's ragging on him for his point guard ability, which is why the Celtics might want to move on from him. But he played really well at that position when they went on that run in the second half of the year. So I don't want to discredit that, but Marcus Smart, you can't really argue that he is the player that they could move on from that would bring in some value. Any of the other guys that they could trade, Nesmith, Grant Williams, Pritchard, any of those guys, even maybe Derek White, I don't know. They're not going to get the value that Marcus Smart would. And that's just my opinion, but I do think a lot of people would agree with that. a championship contending team may want to bring in a guy like Marcus Smart that can absolutely just be a dog for them, or a bad team may want to bring in Marcus Smart for a guy that just like kind of sets the culture for their team or anything like that. So Marcus Smart does have trade value. In fact, this is probably the most trade value he's ever had. He's still not incredibly old, which is good here. Marcus Smart, I got it up in front of me, 29 years old, I believe, if I'm wrong. He is 28 years old, turns 29 next season, so still relatively young. Probably have three more years of decent play here, because the way he plays, that aggressiveness, it's not going to last forever. But Marcus Smart is a tradable asset. But now, for the moment of truth, do I think Marcus Smart should be traded? And the answer is, I don't think Marcus Smart should be traded. No. I don't think priority number one for the Celtics offseason is let's trade Marcus Smart. But what I will say is, for the first time probably in his entire, I shouldn't say that because I've been up and down with him, but for the first time in a while, at least this season, I am not against moving on from Marcus Smart. Now, let me break down both of those points of the fence that I'm standing on here. Marcus Smart, should he trade it? I say no, because I don't think he was truly the problem of this team. Now, at times he was, but he was also a major part in the success, and I think he showed that he can be a point guard. And, let's not forget that this team is built on defense. You trade Marcus Smart, and say you bring in a standard point guard, a ball facilitator and a playmaker and everything like that, you lost a huge part of why you were so good in the first place, which was defense. So I don't think you should tip your nose at that and completely forget about that. I think Marcus Smart showed that he can be a I don't know, slightly above average point guard and playmaker and ball handler and facilitator for this team while still playing really good defense. It is just a matter of, can you freaking get Marcus Smart to agree to that role? Because it was almost like this season, they went on a tear in the back half, and, for a few months, Marcus Smart was like, yeah, I'd love to get 8 assists a game and only shoot like 4 times. And then come playoffs times, and then come, big shots on the line, and Marcus Smart says, I didn't like what was working. Now let me jack up the ball. Brick. So, can you get Marcus Smart to agree to a role that, maybe he's not totally comfortable with? Is a huge question for me, but I think that he can do it. So I don't think that you need to actively shop Marcus Smart this offseason. Now, the second part, am I against moving on from him? I'm not. When I say actively shop, I don't think you need to go out there and, hey, do you want Marcus Smart? 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 Like Oprah Winfrey out in the crowd with Marcus Smarts. I don't think you need to do that. But if someone walks in and says, hey, we really like Marcus Smart, if you're Brad, you go, what are we talking here? And I think that that's what the line in the sand is right now. I don't think, I'm a Celtics fan that's way over to this side of get the guy off the team. He sucks. But I'm also not the guy being like, oh my God, put his number in the rafters. Like, Marcus Smart is a tradable asset for me, but you got to do it for the right deal because he was a huge part of this team's success this year. And just because the recency bias is going to make people say, screw that guy, he jacks up threes, you can't forget that for, about half this season, Marcus Smart was pretty damn awesome. And I want to show one thing here. Marcus Smart's middle name is Osmond, which I don't know. You tell me if you think that means you should trade him or not trade him, because that's a tough or awesome middle name, depending how you look at it. But honestly, guys, that is my overall take here. I don't want to trade Marcus Smart. I don't think that they should openly shop him at all. He's on a very good contract, relatively speaking. By the end of that deal, it's going to be a steal. We rhyme out here. But I don't think that you should be against it. I don't think Marcus Smart's untouchable. In fact, I think only Jason Tatum and maybe Jaylen Brown are untouchable. I think Jason Tatum may be the only untouchable here, because I do think this team needs a little bit of a shakeup. Not a blow up, not anything crazy, but I don't want to come back with the same team. I think that they're going to be a good contending team next year if they just return to the same team. But guys are getting older, like Al Horford, who's a big part of that and everything like that. So I do think that they could, in fact, move on from Smart and bring in some value. But I just don't want to go actively shop. Like, it's not priority one, because when you do that, when you go actively shop a guy, you have no leverage and you get screwed in the deal. And I do not want that to happen to the Celtics. So that's what I got for you guys. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.